So this is chapter 2 for online marketing. And in chapter 2, we're talking a little bit about the digital ecosystem and all of the parts of a marketing ecosystem for online and digital marketing. A lot of the stuff in chapter 2 is just an introduction to various things that are going to be looked at further in depth throughout the textbook. So we're going to look at first, what are the elements of our digital ecosystem? So we have paid and organic search interaction. The paid interaction is where we put out ads for customers to see. We create ads that they can click on. We put out TV ads, billboards, any way that they can interact with us that we have to pay for it. Organic search is when they're just looking for something and we happen to come up in the search. We want to try to make both things happen. Okay? Another is social signals for SEO. Well, SEO is search engine optimization. So search engine optimization helps fuel where we come up in a search, or how we come up in a search based on what people type into an online search box. Certain words might trigger our company's website to come up or advertising to come up, and where we end up on that search depends on one, what browser they're using, what search engine tool they're using, what they type into it, and then also how our website is ranked. So if our website has more engagement and more activity, we're more likely to come up higher in the SEO. You can also pay to come up higher in the SEO, but the organic, where it just happens naturally, is what you're kind of driving towards. Then content strategy. Well, content strategy is the story that we're telling about our business, about our brand, that we're always thinking about our brand when we're creating content, that we're looking to create content that attracts customers. Display advertising and data strategy. So when do we display advertising? Where do we display advertising? Do we want broad display advertising or targeted display advertising? So do we want advertising that is just general and just brand specific that might attract a wide variety of people? Or do we want that advertising to only display to certain people? And then how do we keep track of all of the information about all of our advertising channels and our marketing channels? How do we collect all of that information? How do we combine all of that information? So if a company is advertising on Facebook and using Google Ads and using Twitter and advertising on TV and radio, then how do I look at my marketing strategy in a holistic picture when I have data from all of these different points to determine which one I'm getting the best bang for my buck. So which one is getting me the most customers, the most clicks, the higher SEO traffic. Okay. So brand and the proposition effect. So that we should always be thinking about our brand when we're talking to customers, when we're creating content, when we're creating digital marketing advertising, that we should always be looking to strengthen our brand and the messaging of our brand to customers. Okay? We're going to talk more about branding next week in chapter 3. And some things about the brand are out of our control. So sometimes our brand takes a hit from things that happen outside of our control, customer service, customer satisfaction, positive or negative public relations. Something happens and we are in the news. different pricing or etc. Okay, the halo effect. This is when we see an increase across all channels based on a broad advertising campaign. So we put out a national ad campaign on television, or we put billboards out in 50 different geographic locations. And because of that, we see an increased interaction on social media with any email marketing, click on ads, and then attribution and omni-channel marketing. So attribution marketing is the way in which we look at our data to determine what the return on investment is for each individual channel. And omnichannel is recognizing that customers can interact with us in many, many different ways. They can go to our website, they can follow us on social media, they can watch ads on YouTube, they can come into our place of business. And recognizing that across all of those channels, we need to make sure that we're driving the same conversation, that we're always trying to get marketers or customers across all of those different touch points. And then we want to measure how that is happening. Okay, so paid and organic search interaction. So we talked a little bit about SEO or search engine optimization. And then the other thing that we have for paid search is PPC, which is pay per click. So pay per click is things that we can set up in like Google Ads, Twitter, Facebook ads, and other online ads. We're off our website, so where we put ads. When customers click through those ads that they see online, then we're charged every time someone clicks on one of those ads. If you do a Google search for a product, when you see what comes up in the Google search, the first couple of items might say ad beside the link. So that means that company has paid to be highlighted on your Google search and to show up at the top of the screen. They will pay more money if you click to access their content through that ad link. So that's the pay per click. And you can set, we'll talk a little bit, but we talk about the click-through rates and conversion rates. We're going to do a Google Analytics project in a couple of weeks where Google Analytics show us which things people clicked on, how long they stayed on our website once they got there, what pages they looked at on our website, if we did convert them and they eventually bought something, or if they just clicked through, looked at our website, and then left. Social media does have an effect on your search engine optimization. Not the number of followers that you have on social media. So it's not about just collecting the most followers, but it's actually about the engagement, the posts, the things that you put in your post. The more engagement and interaction that customers have with your website, with your social media, the higher that organic search becomes. So you get a higher score on the SEO, which makes you come up higher in a search. Okay. So we talked about content strategy. So making sure that we're always messaging that brand, but then also utilizing multiple channels. Different media formats are going to attract different customers. And when we get to a later chapter in the digital strategy book, we're going to talk about UX design. So how we design for online government regulations around UX design, and then even just good content and design strategies. Okay. Display and data, we talked a little bit about this. So it's no longer just a banner ad that shows up on the bottom of a website and you pay for it to show up there, but we can put all kinds of different ads. Customers can purchase right through an ad that is showing up somewhere. We can create, it's not just about getting someone to our website or getting someone to our store. We're wanting to convert customers, and often we can convert them immediately and get them to pay on our website. We want to make sure that all of our information is up to date. And for email communications, we want to make sure that the data that we store for email, so we don't have a data breach. You know, if people sign up an account on our website, we want to make sure that their data is securely stored so people don't get access to our email lists and use them for spam purposes. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more next week when we talk about different regulations surrounding online and digital marketing. So brand, said this earlier, all marketing should reinforce a brand. And the halo effect, that we see an uplift across all channels as a result of above the line advertising. Of course, we saw in chapter 1 that above the line advertising is generic advertising that goes out to all customers, such as a TV ad or a billboard or even a digital ad that is not targeted for customers, where below the line advertising is targeted advertising. Okay. And then our attribution and omni-channel, and that we are looking at all areas of our marketing ecosystem and tracking them together. We want to know which messages are the best accepted in different places, and different content needs to be used in different areas. We're not going to send necessarily the same content in an email that we're displaying on social media. We have more room in an email to discuss. We might try to attract people differently in an email. Same thing, pay per click and how we drive people through pay per click. This also includes not just digital marketing, but if we're also combining that with TV marketing, radio advertising, billboards, etc., and how that we look at those analytics and see where those customers are coming from, which content is having the highest impact, so that we can plan for a better strategy in the future. And we, of course, are going to cover that a lot more in the future chapters. That is the end of chapter 2.